All right. Well, hopefully, I'm going to make a video that I think is actually pretty important. Try to make a video. It's 104 or 105 here today, and I'm in the car. I just ate some food, but I think it'd be a good time just to make a video on a pretty important topic. A lot of people are new to the Q50, or they're thinking about getting a Q50 3.0T, and they have a lot of questions about tuning. They hear this 300 horsepower car, and pretty easily with just a tune you can tune it to 410, 420, 430, 450 horsepower, with supporting accessories. So that's like really cool, and I totally get it. That's kind of how I was, after I bought the car and learned that you could tune it. Yeah, a lot of people are looking to get it. They don't have this car, but this is a big thing they want to know. And so I had previous experience with tuning a turbo car prior to this car, so I wasn't just jumping in with my feet, dry. I mean, let's say dry or wet, getting wet. So I had experience, but a couple of years had gone by, and I kind of forgotten all this tuning stuff, and so I had a lot of questions too. I was seeing Ecutec and different costs, and just there's a lot to know about tuning. So a lot of people have questions. So I just think it'll be a really cool video. I think some of the other YouTubers have done videos, but not recently, and they haven't retouched on this. So I'm going to just touch on this, try to do it quickly and precisely, so that I can make sense of it. So from my experience, so here we go. So everyone can have this in one place. Okay, let me start out. First, there's Ecutec and there's UpRev. I don't know, I can't tell you much about UpRev, but the company Ecutec is the most popular. And probably, for right now, from what I've seen and heard and online and Facebook and places, as Ecutec is the best. Um, what that breaks down to, I've seen prices from $575, $600 up to $1,700, and in between. About an in between is about $1,000 to $1,200. So why, Brian? Why is there just big variety from $600 to $1,700? Well, there's different ways to do this tuning. There's in person. Your tuner's local. You take your car to them. They sit in there with their laptop. I guess you could drive around and they could log some things, or you can data log. But you've got to it gets complicated. You've got to get the tune so you can data log. And so what you do is you take your data log to them, and your tuner looks at your data logs and rewrites your program, and then sends it to you, or right there on the spot can upload it to the car and adjust the tune so your car's running right. Then you have people that don't live locally. Someone lives in Florida, and there's a tuner in Florida. I think his name B Tuned. There's quite a few tuners, and I'll try to get to that. I'm not the encyclopedia of tuners, but I'll try to help people out with that. But so you're somewhere in the United States, or I guess you could be abroad too, and you don't have a tuner within 3 or 4 hours you can drive to or down the street. So you want to email this stuff. Like if you want to do AMS and you live in Tennessee, or Tennessee, or say you live in Arizona and you want to use AMS, and they don't have a shop local to you, which I don't think they do. I think it's just a Chicago area. Then you contact them. They send you the license. You got to pay for the license, and that's what the initial of this $700, $800, $900, $1,000. At least with me, was the $450 was the purchasing of the license, and it allows you to upload the tune to your car. That's Ecutec's fee that they get for allowing, I guess, the tuner to use their software, even though they pay for the software from Ecutec to do this. But that's how they get their more money. And they've worked this out, that you've got to have this license and this key that you can insert in your laptop, so that you can download this stuff back and forth to your car through the dongle, the OBD2 port dongle reader. Yeah, but so yeah, it's really complicated with this car, way more complicated than say like a Ford Focus ST or an RS or the Mustang GT, or a GTR, where you can use a Cobb handheld tuner, and you can just email. I mean, that's like $450. Then you can just email a tuner. I guess it equals kind of out to the same price. I mean, back when I had my Ford Focus ST in 2013, they were just charging like $150 for tunes, and then if you wanted an E85 tune, that was another $100. Way easier, way easier. No license. I mean, you could take your tune off and on your car with just buying the Cobb access port. But now Infiniti and Nissan and Ecutec and UpRev have made this shit so complicated that everyone's got to get their penny. So I understand that, everyone wants to get paid. So yeah, so let me see what I haven't covered. My tune was about $980, and then I wanted to have access to data log, and so what I did is I went back to Jotech and I paid $185. I got a little bit of a discount on the Ecutec dongle, Bluetooth dongle, that retails for like $220. So I got a little discount there, and then that allows you to data log and map switch and do all these really cool features. I guess if you had your dongle and you had the serial number that plugs into your laptop, device, then you can download and take your tune off and on the car. And then you can do a lot of different things with that. You can read your codes and clear your codes. So, I mean, as you get some of these extra things on there, you don't need those to do the tune. But if you want to have some of these cool features and be able to have some privileged things that you can do, then you got to buy into more, the $1,200 up to the $1,700. The $1,700 tune and process, that's with AMS Performance in Chicago, the premier tuner for this car, because obviously they have these cars and they race these cars, Q60, Q50, 3.0T, and so they have a lot of experience with this car because they have the cars, and they're not just their piddly shop cars. That's one of their predominant cars where they're really, really pushing the envelope, so they know all the ins and outs, and what ins and outs of trash control, ins and outs of setting up that, because trash control, AMS updated their tuning software, and there's like 15 parameters that you can go in and change, and I'm not going to, just because of time, go into those, but you can change some of those depending on what you're wanting the car to do from the launch control. And then there's like 5 or 6 other things that you can do, all these different parameters in the tune, charts, and they're based off charts with I can't explain it, but with timing and with fueling, and you can go in, because the car, and I want to make this complicated, but I think it's really, really cool, and it's good to know, this car does a lot to protect itself. The ECU has got its hands in everything. Torque control, torque management, everything. The traction control, the anti-lock brakes, timing, fueling. I mean, it's got its hand in everything, shifting, everything. So the basics of that, even though you tune the car, the tuner still leaves a lot of those charts, and I can't think of my term right now, of a lot of those things that are left solid, left alone. They modify some things in these areas, but they leave a lot of that alone, and that's good because the car protects itself. The car knows, when it's 104 degrees out, that it's got to pull, you've added all this boost and all this extra fueling and all this extra stuff that makes the car haul ass. But when it's 104 or it's 40 degrees out, the car has to be able to keep a judgment, because the tuner can't tune for all these different varieties. When they tune, they fine tune those areas so that the car runs better kind of more in a range. So with that stock information, the car has such a wide variety of information so that it can pull timing, it can add fuel, it can take away fuel, and it protects the car in all kinds of different environments, from summer to winter, you know, from 20 degrees winter here in Texas to 104 like it is today, where it feels like 112. And it's just a wide variety of tuning. So, you know, I could go more. Let me just kind of end it there. So, I mean, it's a wide variety of, you know, about $600 to about $1,700. And then there's dyno tuning, and then there's data log tuning. And from my experience doing this, I thought dyno putting it on the dyno and having them tune it on the dyno, which is it's helpful in a way. It's you can tune the car that way, but what you need is you need that in addition to data logging, so that you real world data logging, and it's not just dyno tune, because on a dyno tune you're not driving in an environment. It's on rollers that are, you know, that are based off you know, speed and resistance, you know, where out on the real road, it's not that way. And I can't go into too much detail because the video will get too long, but I prefer more, probably now that I know what I know, as data logging and then doing the tuning through data logging. The dyno is going to be really, really helpful because it's going to give you a number. It's going to tell you, I've got 430 horsepower with these modifications on my car. Look, here's my dyno sheet. This is what my car makes. Otherwise, you know, you don't dyno the car, then you just have an estimation. You know, I'm 410, 430 horsepower on any given day. But, you know, if I don't run the car back to back. So that's important to know. But dyno on the dyno usually costs about, per session, can cost up to $250. So I had dyno tuned my car at Ecutec like 5 different times, and they did not charge me to, you know, do these different adjustments and to give me different maps, because they let me go with a, you know, really high horsepower map. I got in here and the car was just bonkers explosive, you know, just touched 15% of the throttle and the car was just leaving smoke marks for 30 feet, you know, and that's not good for daily driving. So dry the sweat off my face and my mouth. So there's just all kinds of different ways. So that hopefully will help people to know my battery's running low, and so it's going to shut the video off. But hopefully that helps people to understand a little bit better of the process of Ecutec, and they make the software that goes in and it hacks the car's computer, and then it allows the tuner to change the parameters. And so your tuner is the one that actually writes your tune to up your horsepower and manages all the other parameters. Ecutec is a software that allows the tuner to kind of break into the ECU. You know, Dodges, you have to buy a separate PCM, and you can't just crack the ECU. It gets really, really complicated. So there's lots of different ways to do this, man. If it would just go back to the Ford days, turbocharged Fords, and just buy a Cobb and you're done with it, and you just contact a tuner. He emails you the tune and you just load it up and bam, there it is. And it works out really, really, really well. But I'll say my Ford Focus didn't gain 120 horsepower, so that's the downfall. And I don't know, you know, with some of their other turbo cars, you know, you don't gain 120 horsepower, you gain like 40 or 50 horsepower. So there's a downfall. You know, the Infiniti, you gain 120 to 150 horsepower and, you know, 60, 70 torque. So hopefully that helps people and helps people get a better understanding. So, you know, I don't mind responding to people. I enjoy talking to people online, you know, or through YouTube to explain things, and I enjoy that. So it's not my intention to say, hey, I don't want to tell you that. I'm going to make a video, go see the video, but it will be helpful because I'll title this and put in, you know, the search, you know, do you want to tune your car, and some different parameters I think people will search for, and then they can have these answers right here on the video instead of having to wait for me to respond to you. Which is actually, I do it really quickly. Try to do, you know, every hour I'm looking at my YouTube account. So just because I enjoy it. But other than that, like and subscribe if you like my content, if you found it helpful. Yeah, and then just share it if you want to share it, and then that'll just help my videos to get out there more to different people and help my channel to grow. And that's all I want. I'm not making money out of this to go buy all my car parts and feed myself and all these other things. So again, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful. Have a great day, great afternoon, and I will see you on the next video. It's going to be wheel content. I got my wheels in, so it's going to be wheel content. All right, have a good day. Oh yeah, real quick, I need to add to, man, just got my air back on. It's so hot. So hot was my dash say, like 103, and I'm in the shade. But some of the tuners, and I don't know everybody. Obviously, there's B-tuned, there's AMS Performance, there's Concept Z Performance, and I think they're in Arizona. Sebastian, I guess, is one of the tuners everyone really likes. And then let's see, AMW out of Houston. Maybe there's a couple guys in Houston, and then there's even one in San Antonio, which is actually seems pretty popular. Let me see if there's anything else that I know of. I'm sure there's some tuners up in the New York area, as most of these YouTubers with car videos, these guys are all up. You know, there's a lot of fast cars, and a lot of car people up towards the New York. So I mean the Northeast. Man, I can't believe how many, you know, most of the people making car videos are people from this area. So yeah, so those are the tuners. You know, if you want to search them on Facebook or YouTube or just the internet, those are some of the recommended tuners. My Ecutec folks here, you know, they were just local to me and really just down the street, and they have dynos, and they tune, you know, $500,000 cars, $200,000 cars, GTRs every single day. And it was just something I thought was cool, and I could take it there. And obviously if they can tune those cars, then they can tune my car. But I just think the experience, you know, is just a little lacking. As far as their interest in the Q50 platform, you know, and getting it totally tweaked out to the best of its ability. So, you know, Ecutec, you know, and they don't do email tuning. They told me specifically they don't entertain even trying to do email tunes, or remote tunes is what they call it. So yeah, I'd probably just stick with those guys. If I were to do this again, just from the start, and I knew just a little bit more, I would probably go AMW in Houston. I think he's changed his name, or the company's name, to something else, but you should be able to find him on Facebook. Hussein is his first name, or last name, I can't remember, but AMW Tuning. He said he's got the top 6 cars in the United States for 60 to 130, the fastest times. So I talked to him through email, or chatting on Facebook, whatever, IMing, and he was helpful to a degree, and would tune me. But I've already paid for, you know, $1,000-something for my tune, and I just can't afford to go on a whim, just go, I'll tune it again for another, you know, 15 horsepower, you know, if he could find 15 more horsepower. So, you know, it's a touchy situation. So, but yeah, there you go. Finish that. You can find one of those tuners and contact them and get a tune. So